Live from LA. This is Smart and Mild.
Smart and Mild, baby. What is Gucci? Today, we have, hold on, whoever's talking in the back, excuse me. Yeah.
We got the curly-headed overlord back there. She's having all the fun.
We got people talking. I don't think they realize we're recording. Whatever. Anyway, we got Lulu in the building. What's Gucci, Lulu? How you doing?
Hi. Nice to see you. Hello.
Yeah. The comedian, the actress, the all around, so far I would say a good person. You know what I mean? Lulu in the building. What's good? How you doing?
Hi. I'm good. Great to be here.
These are my favorite type of episodes where we don't actually know our guest.
Yeah.
Like, I know of you. I know that you are in like the open mic scene. You're doing stand up all over the city. You're running some mics around town, and so it's nice to just like start this bullshit up and just start chatting to figure out what's actually going on.
Yeah. And before we start, can we lower the volume behind us, please, real quick? Hey, people, please lower the volume. All right, thank you.
Oh, thank you.
All right,
I
now.
love you too.
Oh, the other Lulu.
Yeah, you're right. I know, right? So it's lovely here because it look like we know some people together. We knew Pink Fox, the comedian. Faisal Lawrence, the comedian. We have a couple of friends that are intermingling in our little LA comedy world, which is cool. And also like me and LJ, we're going to do stand up comedy next week. Scratch that, tomorrow. And then go on next week and so on for this year. And that's one of our biggest goals is to be like do the best we can in comedy. And you run an open mic, night. Like how is that? Like how has that been working for you? Like since you started comedy?
Oh, it's good. It's I host at this place Flashback every Monday for like 4 or 5 hours every Monday, and it's fun. Because the more stage time you get, the better you get faster. So like that has really helped my progression. But oh my god, I see so much bad comedy. So. Yeah.
Do you think it like rubs off on you ever, or do you just continue to get better yourself?
No, the only thing that rubs off on me is a bad attitude, honestly, sometimes. But
okay.
No, it's great overall. I mean, I have a lot of friends through that, and overall, it's like great. And the most important thing is how much stage time it gets you, and how much faster you're able to get better.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I feel like you've only been in the scene for like 2 years, right? And that's kind of a difficult 2 years considering COVID is in the middle of it.
Right.
Because I was just starting to do a bunch of open mics when COVID started. And then we just started podcasting all the time, so I hadn't really gotten back to it yet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But you just kind of pushed through. What'd you experience through comedy like during that little like period? Was it nice being new while COVID happened to give you just more time without so many people in your face?
Right. Yeah, that was I think it's probably like long term. It's probably going to affect me more than like I will have ever known because I started, than I would have guessed because I started comedy 6 months before the pandemic, right?
Okay.
And then it hit, and for another 6 months there was like nothing really going on. I had heard of like a couple secret ones that were in Orange County or something, but I was still like I wasn't sure what was happening.
Yeah.
And then I think in like October or November. After COVID hit, that's when I really started going like a soldier, like more than even before, because there were more mics starting to pop up, and they were still kind of secretive, but that's when I really started going, and there were not that many other people doing that.
Okay.
So.
Did you ever do a Zoom open mic?
No, never.
I saw that they still have those up.
Yeah.
Yeah, they still have that.
Yeah.
And it's crazy.
It's like based out of Boston, but it's still on like the LA like open mic thing, and they're like, you can come on our Zoom.
That's really amazing to me to watch that, and and some of them even have masks on in their home. I'm like, oh, holy shit. That's a whole different story. But speaking of secret and soldiering, it sounds like you're from like where are you from, by the way? Because I want to know like what you're all about.
Yeah, so I was born and raised here in LA, but my family is all immigrants from the former Yugoslavia, like Serbia and Montenegro. But a lot of them were raised in the Soviet Union, so I just have all of that. I still have a little bit of accent, like some words come out, and it's like,
yeah,
who is this bitch? Anyway, I don't know. Yeah, but I'm born and raised here.
Yeah, because you're pretty cute, but like I now that you said that, I'm a little scared. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you should be.
Yeah, because it's the bowl cut, and I don't know, because I saw the movie Salt. I don't know what's going on. Anyway.
Oh, Salt.
Yeah,
I just said Saw. I was
Salt.
like, what did they have someone who looked like me in Saw? No.
Yeah. We were actually just talking about like on the previous podcast how like no offense, sorry, but like certain some white people look like Russians, and they also look like Americans. I can't tell I don't know what's going on. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying, like,
There was nothing in that was offensive. You did not have to say no offense.
I don't know how offensive white people get sometimes, and it varies. It varies per person. You know what I mean? I don't know.
We find that like there's a lot of different like ethnicities within whiteness that are trying to avoid whiteness now. Like they're trying to like check it off and say like, I'm not actually that, but I'm Norwegian Swede, so I'm taking that bullet all the way through.
Right.
Okay.
There's no way to dodge it.
Right.
But there's ways to say like, oh well, I'm not.
Yeah, sometimes I say I'm spicy white. I'm not, like milk white.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So kind of like Drake, kind of spicy.
Not. That's not me, right?
What is calling? Oh,
Computer.
that's me. All right.
We got computers ringing now.
I don't know if you saw what happened with Drake.
Oh, yes, the condom thing.
Yes.
It's
I
spicy.
heard about it. Yes.
That's spicy white.
Spicy, yeah.
That is spicy white.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
is some spicy white. Yeah, I heard about that. Wow, that's disgusting.
I just heard about that today, and I was just like complete shock. And I was like, because I was explaining this, I was like, think about how many levels you have to get to Drake. Like, let's cut it out. Like, you have to like find him first of all, find out where he is, get through his bodyguards, meet this guy, have trust in him, have trust in so much that they're gonna take you home and fuck you, and that's a lot. It takes steps to get there, and all of a sudden you're gonna like pull a stunt like that and come to find out that this guy has been through this shit before.
Literally come to find out.
You right.
I mean, it's a wild, really like forward-thinking move by him.
Right.
I actually don't believe it.
That's 20 IQ plus, like 100%, 200 IQ, like all the way in. Like,
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these guys they do have to do that because like as much as with Me Too and feminism, of course it's all great, but then they argue that like, but famous men do have to protect themselves.
For
like
sure.
there are the women
Right.
who are willing to trap and lie and do whatever.
Oh, yeah.
So
Defend
it's
the
very
patriarchy,
smart.
yeah.
For
it's,
sure.
It's very smart of him to have seasoned his seed.
But I just don't understand that. I feel like it might have had a tint of red in order to pull that off.
Yeah, like
and
how can
she's
you
still
not-
going forward with it.
Think about it, like
That's crazy.
You
to me.
saw that, and then you still decided to like unload it into your coach. Like, I'm just wondering, like, how did you not notice that? Because typically hot sauce isn't clear. It's either red or green.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point too.
I don't know. If it was green, like, holy fuck, like, you know.
Yeah.
But green hot sauce is always better.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Like, we got the verde, the red. But like,
Yeah.
my question, like, you didn't know there was hot sauce in there, but all of a sudden you see red or green plus, yellowish clear or whatever. And then, like, pump it in, and then you're like, there was a reaction to that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, there's just different levels of fame. I don't know what to tell you.
Tough to see. You know what I mean? Well, we'll talk about that later because, we got more to talk about that in the future. Because sometimes it's just like these chicas, to be nice, they be lying.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I'm worried about my boy. You know what I mean? And
Your boy Drake.
yeah.
Mhm.
Call him, watch out for these.
So Cam realized that in his life he's gonna like reach a certain level of fame.
Okay.
Anywhere that you go with this man, he becomes the show. He's the star of the show.
Oh.
I've never been to a club that he hasn't found himself on the mic during the night. It doesn't matter what club it is. It doesn't matter who's DJing. He's like up there with the guy, and he's yelling, "King Cam in the place."
Yeah,
Oh
King
my
Cam,
God.
like, host gets to the middle, let's dance.
So he has a
Yeah,
huge
yeah.
fear of all these different things that the girls are gonna. So this hot sauce move is gonna be like one of your main things.
It's concerning, you know what I mean? Because the reality is, like, listen, like right now, like I get like no host, right? It is what it is, right? No host. But like I know
You got a
eventually-
new place, dude. It's
yeah,
different
now that
now.
we have a new place, I'll get real hosts and more hosts, and all of a sudden we're gonna have these like Drake problems. You know what I mean? So I gotta watch out ahead of time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, so you're a cute, Russian spy. You have to look out for things like that for your future, like what's going on with the guys that are trying to dating you. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, like
Yeah.
what you have to look out for. Let's, what.
It's not even guys that I'm dating. I just have to watch my back walking down the street. Like it's a little bit of a different situation.
Yeah.
But I don't think anyone's gonna try to impregnate me, so that's good. I don't think anyone's gonna try to trap me with a baby. So I don't have
Wait,
to.
why not?
I am on birth control. First of all, second of all, I would abortion that shit immediately.
I think you should be able to abort up to 9 years,
Oh,
especially with the new
okay.
suicide pod.
Yeah.
I think it's just like a real clean way to do it.
Right.
And you don't really know what you got yourself into until like 9 years old.
Yeah. That's true.
Let's talk about that for a second, because abortion. I say 11. You're right. You say 9. I say 11. But then I always talk about that. Like, why do we creating up new ideas to like kill a motherfucker? Like, why can't we just drop him off in the Pacific Ocean? You know what I mean? Like, no boat. No,
it's because there's empathy involved. This is a life that we're talking about.
Yeah, sorry.
It's all those really important stuff.
Yeah, but listen, but if you're at Disney World and your kid doesn't you just say, I don't like the cheese or whatever. Like, sometimes,
the kid's gotta go.
You gotta go. I don't know.
Get it.
I don't know.
Listen, I am all for beating one's children, but death, listen, assassination or execution, that's a little too far, because if you beat them, then they learn. If you just kill them, then that's a waste of your investment of 9 years even.
But then, I say this, right? You drop them off in the Pacific Ocean and then show your other kids. Like, this is what happens. You know what I mean? That's how the other kids learn. Because sometimes some people don't learn.
That's true.
I'm just saying. Sorry, I don't mean to go off this tangent, but sometimes, I get a little...
That's why I love to bring guests on here that, haven't met us.
Yeah.
And just, see how it goes.
Right. No, I think you do well in the Middle East. I mean, I went to Dubai once, and they don't have any police presence. They don't have any crime, because they'll throw you in jail if you even talk shit in a taxi about the fucking government. So it's it works. Police state like that. If the punishment.
That'd be scary to do comedy out there.
Yeah, I don't think you do.
You know what I mean?
I don't think you do.
Just get on stage and just tear.
Yeah. Like, it's fucking hot in here. Bang! It's just complaining about fucking what's wrong, like why the roads are messed up, and why is one big metropolis here but everything else is screwed. Like, what, you would have got from that for sure. I know that. So tell me, talk to me about what's going on.
So I know that you have this podcast called Ball Gag.
Yeah.
Right. It's a solo podcast where you just kind of sit on there. You kind of tell everybody everything.
I do. Yeah.
You're willing to be pretty vulnerable on that thing.
I know.
What is it about? Is it just about getting people closer to you so then they can reflect on your comedy more?
I really don't know. I started the podcast. I really wanted to start a podcast because I moved into my place and it already had a little studio in it. So I was like, I would be a fool if I didn't make use of this.
Yeah.
I was scared to start a podcast alone, so I had a friend at the time that I decided to do it with. But now I do it myself, and I really didn't think that I would be able to fill up in 45 minutes a week or whatever, just talking.
Yeah.
And it's not it's that funny. It's hard for me to just riff on myself unless I, did drugs or something. I don't, it's hard for me to do that, but
it's more like a journal.
Yeah, which I don't love. I don't love it that it feels like a vlog sometimes, and of course some episodes are slower and less exciting than others, but
I think it reminds me a lot of Theo Vaughn's podcast, as I was saying before.
Right.
Where it's this past weekend where he's just kind of chatting about it. And one thing that I think is kind of cool is you do bring people into LA's comedy scene, though.
Yeah.
And you're chatting about what it's like to actually be an open micer that's now kind of taking it to that next level, where you're starting to get shows out of state and starting to take things a little bit further, having more consistency. Most people aren't willing to talk about that journey. It's they just want to show up on the scene, but it doesn't really work like that.
Right. Yeah, of course. And yeah, I think that's it's always interesting to hear what other people think about what you're creating and stuff. But yeah, I wasn't consciously doing that, but I guess you're right. I mean, I also kind of go back and forth in between that. Someone told me recently, only start posting on your Instagram photos and flyers of you at these major clubs. So I have that. So on my podcast, I guess I narrate the sort of less glamorous open micer type of shit.
Sure.
But I still have that in the back of my mind of oh, what image are you projecting? Make yourself seem like a bigger deal than you are on social media a little bit. I kind of go back and forth.
Yeah.
With that, because I wish I was better at marketing and hyping myself up and stuff, but I think slowly I'm getting better at that, but I don't know. I'm just trying to figure it out.
Well, I think one of the good things that you have is it seems like you're kind of in a comedy team a little bit.
Yeah.
As far as you just have a good group of friends with a circle that are doing skits together, having fun, doing shows together. How'd you find yourself in that space?
So the people that you're referring to, it's Dante Chang, Renee Vaca, Brian Supon, and a couple other guys. So they are the ones where I host the open mic on Mondays. It's Dante Chang's. It's at his clothing store. So I would go there to the open mic. Like a year ago, I started going there during the pandemic because it was one of the few places that was open.
Yeah.
And then he just took a liking to me, and then could tell that I was like a genuine person, and he believes in me like comedically a little bit. So then he was like, let's just keep you around.
That's dope.
So that's how that happened. So yeah, I'm very lucky that I have that little like crew or clique or whatever. And then I have some other friends who've also been like gracious enough to like take me.
Yeah. Well, it's funny that we're on this couch. I haven't talked to Brian Supan since literally probably the day I met him, other than like random interactions on Instagram.
Yeah.
But he was one of those guys in my first open mic that just like walked up to me right after. He was like, "That was all right. Like, can I have your number?" And so just like a good guy like that, it's good. It's important to be around good people. And like we're lucky enough to have that too.
Yeah.
Where we just have like good friends that are in the business that understand it.
Brian and I started the same week. We found that out recently.
Oh, that's hilarious.
So that feels cool.
Yeah. So where do you see yourself like now that you've started to get a hook? What do you say? A foothold? Yeah, foothold on your comedy and foothold on your acting. Like, where do you see yourself? Like, where do you see this going in the next 5 years?
Oh my God, is this a job interview?
Yeah, it is.
No, I mean, like, because like you're doing this independently, right? You're doing this skits independently, and like where did we take that? Like, other than like going the traditional job route or taking these big roles, like where do you see yourself taking this?
Well, I'm still trying to figure out the business component again, like trying to sell myself, market myself, all of that stuff. Like I still don't have like a natural knack for, but I think stand-up is my primary priority. I think I like acting because it's better than having a day job, but also it hopefully creates good exposure for stand-up. Yep, like that's my mindset, and I was acting before I was doing stand-up, but stand-up is really all I give a shit about. So I don't know, in the future, of course, like theaters, maybe, I don't know if I'll ever be an arena act, but because I'm not like a very high energy physical comic, and I feel like that suits those types of comics better, is arenas and shit. But,
you never know.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna limit myself for sure. I'm not gonna be like, no.
I think it's a per person basis, because like everyone gets to have like their audience. Like you totally will have like your audience, people that like identify with you, and then that just more and more people will cling on to it and be like, okay, got it. Like we have to fill up the Staples Center to see Lulu.
The crypto.com center, you mean?
Yeah.
Excuse me. Yeah.
As a local, are you still like pretty mad about that?
It's a little disrespectful. I feel like crypto.com is fucking bullshit, but
is it is it the crypto or is it the .com?
Crypto.com.
Is it the no, I'm saying what part is disrespectful? Is it the .com?
It's the both. I don't understand I barely understand what crypto is, and I every time on Twitter I see something that mentions NFT or crypto or something, I just scroll by so quickly because it's like, and it makes me feel like I'm a little kid who's like playing hide and seek and hides behind the curtain even though their like feet are sticking out, because I'm like, if I don't read it, like it's not a real thing, and I don't have to understand what a metaverse is.
Right.
But did you ever play Sims?
Yeah, a long time.
That's it.
That's all it is. That is it. That's pretty much it in VR. I mean,
but why are people putting so much money into it? Like, what's the point?
Because the dollar is down. Like everyone's scared about politics, so they're like, let's find something else. Yeah. We're just looking for a new rocket ship.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean,
it's a fear thing, and it's the only place that like money can they can bullshit us right now.
Yeah, they can bullshit, because like right before crypto came out, they baseball cards were going up in value like crazy. So I think it's just like a placeholder to put your money where you say this is value.
It's money laundering too.
It's money laundering because it was art in fucking baseball cards. So now we have a digital version of that. That's where you're gonna put your money and save it. I guess
there is elements of reality. I think that it's gonna like transform our world, but it's always that initial little pop.
Yeah.
I think there's so much money that's just getting washed.
Yeah, for sure.
That's interesting. Yeah, I have a friend whose cousin is an artist. Like, she didn't go to college. She moved to Hawaii, and she's an artist, and she's made since May like $300,000 selling NFTs.
Jesus. A friend of mine who's a tattoo artist. She's like, I'm tattooing people. That's great, but like, I'm just gonna create an NFT on my fucking iPad and sell it.
Yeah.
And like, all right, that makes sense. Like, fuck this place. My tattoo's still shit anyway. But anyway,
you already had it like touched up like three times.
The third time, for God's sake.
It was a free tattoo though. You're like mad about getting a free tattoo.
No,
he bitches about it all the time.
No, I paid $110 for it. Okay, it's tiny. It's tiny. Whatever. Anyway,
he was doing it for a date.
What?
You just want to like chat with her, right?
Yeah, she was very. Well, it's a longer story. You know what happened. Whatever. Anyway.
Maybe Lulu wants to know.
Well, I don't care. It's fine.
Yeah, it's okay. You don't want to. You don't want to know. But once you'll find out, like I have a lot of girl problems here on this show. But anyway, NFTs make a lot of money, and you don't. Yeah, I get that you don't like it. It's very annoying. It's a lot of shit going on.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's tough. It's tough. I don't know. Like the future is bright. The crypto.com, the center. That's what we're doing.
Oh yeah.
So people are gonna fill up to come see you, and then like I don't know. Like I think that's cool. Like you're gonna have your own audience. I think for instance, you kind of remind me a little bit about Jade Caparetta. Do you know who?
Jade Catapretta.
Catapretta. Yeah.
Yeah, we have similar features for sure. We have a similar look at least.
It's definitely the bowl cut helps quite a bit. But
the bowl cut.
The bowl cut helps quite a bit.
This is a bob.
It's a bob.
Oh, Bob, my bad. Sorry, I really didn't know that. Wish you were here out a little longer. And but it's like the similar like girl energy, like fuck you. It's good.
Yes, that's my vibe.
Yeah.
That is my vibe.
It's good. I like it. Cool.
But did you ever walk into a Staples store when you cared so much about the Staples Center? No one in LA would ever go to a Staples.
Dude.
And then they wonder why it went away. It's like because nobody likes that company.
And it's so overpriced for like no fucking reason. The store is always dirty. They don't ever wash their fucking carpets. Like, what's the deal?
That's because they're paying so much money to be on the Staples Center. They have time to wash the floors.
Fuck these carpets. Yeah, they're capping big time.
That'd be infuriating to be them and being like, you have this like staple, and it's like culturally like matters around here, but nobody else is paying for that cultural relevance than you.
Yeah, and then like you literally walk into a Staples, like not only dirty this, dirty that. You're like, hey, could I find this, that, and one employee motherfucker in there, like, all right, let me walk there, and he's always old, right? And he has to walk to the back of the store, right? And then someone's waiting for the cashier, and then it's just a mess. Fuck that place.
Actually, it makes a lot of sense now that I'm thinking about it. I mean, there's kind of something poetic about it, about how Staples, which is an office supply, largely paper-selling store, then being turned into like a crypto.com. It's like the internet taking over, fucking written.
Well, could you imagine how mad LA would be if Staples, like, if it was like anything other, and now Staples came up with it?
Yeah, right.
They'd be like, "Are you kidding me? Like
around?
this shitty department store? Like for LA?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Well,
this is glitz and glamorous Staples?
Yeah, get fuck out of here. Well, I mean, actually, this is a good question. So, if you had a choice to sponsor a company to Staples Center, what company would it be? And then modern day times now, what company would it be?
To rename the
Staples Center? The Staples after that company.
Office Depot, probably.
Yep, that makes sense. That makes a lot. Didn't Staples buy Office Depot though? It's the same shit.
So I wish I could say Jeff Bezos should be the name of the center.
Amazon Center. Yeah.
But if it was In-N-Out, dude.
Ooh, that makes a lot of sense.
Are you kidding me?
That makes
in
a lot
LA?
of sense. Yeah.
Like, let's go.
Yeah.
In-N-Out Center.
It'd be sick.
That would be pretty lit. Yeah, and it would make more sense.
It sounds a little rapey. But that's LA.
Yeah, but it'll make a lot of sense. Make a lot of sense for the Lakers and the Sparks, right? The Yellows, right? But right now, like crypto, like I don't know, like I don't want to invite gangs here. Like there's already Bloods, Crips, and then the Clippers, and then like the Crips, and I don't know. I don't want it to be turned into a whole bloodbath out there. Like it was already crazy when the Lakers won. You know what I mean? Like God forbid the Clippers win the championship, which they will never do. But God forbid they do, right? It's gonna be crazy. I don't know. No Reds there allowed. You know what I mean? I don't know.
They'll always be B-list. It'll never happen.
Yeah.
It'd be like Bernie Sanders winning. They would never allow it.
Yeah.
Someone's going to get offed.
Yeah. The corporations ain't going to let that shit fly. Yeah. That's what's up. So, you've been acting before. Where were you, like, were you seen in any movie shows? Like, what kind of were shows were acting?
I was in a couple movies on the Sci-Fi Channel.
Sick.
One of them is called Trailer Park Shark, and then another one is called Nightmare Shark. Nightmare Shark is a sequel to Trailer Park Shark. And
is that like Sharknado, kind of like a spin-off? It isn't.
Yeah, it's kind of because Sharknado was such a hit, it kind of created its own like tiny little subgenre of like horrible shark movies that the Sci-Fi Channel was just on board for. They were like, we want to make these shitty on purpose, so that's what ended up happening.
And did you get killed?
Not in the first one because I made it to the sequel.
Oh yeah,
and then the ending of the sequel is open to interpretation
Oh.
because it's like they combine it with Nightmare on Elm Street, so it's like shark attacks in your dreams, and does the dream kill you in real life or not? Anyway,
there we go.
It's
so she's dead.
Yeah,
you're
I'm
toast.
dead.
Yeah,
I
you're
don't
toast.
think I'm coming back to that.
Shark in a trailer. I mean, that's interesting. How did the shark get into the trailer?
No, so it was like a trailer park
Uh-huh.
in Louisiana, and then there's a storm, and a shark gets electrocuted and is able to electrocute other people before it eats them.
And it kind of like swims on the little
Yes.
the dirt.
Well, yeah, because the trailer park gets flooded by the storm.
Right.
How good was the CGI in this flick?
Bad.
Yeah.
Not good. Not good.
How are the sharks doing in the Gulf of Mexico? Didn't they get got by the fucking BP oil spill and shit? Like, what happened?
God, you are really way more up to date on current events
Sorry,
than I am. I have no idea. I don't know anything.
I just think sharks in Gulf of Mexico, like, I feel like they're not even fucking there. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not a,
That's where they're supposedly supposed to be because that's like where the warmer water is.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's where they hang out.
marine biology.
Warm as
True.
fuck, right? You can light that shit on fire. Anyway. That's what's up, dude. No, yeah, that's what's up. I like it. I like it.
Have you felt like comedy really now starting to like not only your own career but just like it's just starting to open up, like more gigs are happening?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, there's a lot of shit that's now normal. I mean, there are indoor shows even in LA that I'm doing. So, yeah, I think it's back. I mean, of course, like the little variants and shit kind of like put dampers on things from time to time. Like some people do cancel their shows, but I mean, the clubs at least have remained open for the most part.
Is like the line for an open at like the Comedy Store as big as it was like when Rogan was there, or is that kind of changed for the Comedy Store?
I think they're still selling out shows and stuff. I know they close the Belly Room from time to time because of COVID, but
okay.
I think they're doing fine. I don't know. I hang out at the Improv also and the Comedy Store. So yeah, no, to me it all seems fucking normal. Like, I don't know.
Did you ever think about moving to Austin?
No. No. First of all, I'm born and raised here.
Okay.
Second of all, my family's here. Third of all, like why would I move to Austin, Texas when I'm
Everybody
from
was supposed to do
Los
it.
Angeles? Like, no.
Okay.
But there was opportunity there, and Joe Rogan's opening up a new Comedy Store that hasn't been opened up yet.
Oh yeah, that's true. He's been trying to open a comedy club for 2 years now.
Yeah.
That has yet to be seen. I don't know. Yeah, I have friends who went there. One of my friends was part of that crew. My friend Mario, he just moved there, and he was part of our crew, with Brian and Dante and all those people. And he's like, I can't believe I moved to this fucking city knowing that you guys are getting to perform at San Diego Laugh Factory and this and that. Like, he's regretting his decision.
Yeah.
Some people are, some people aren't. I don't know. I mean, it's a smaller, from what I can observe, it's a smaller community there, and it is a little bit easier to get in the favor of Joe Rogan or Tony Hinchcliffe or Tom Segura, maybe even, because he moved out there too.
Yeah.
But so in a way, it's a smaller pond that you get to the bigger fishes, like faster. But I don't know.
It's like not really, because like especially in just the world we live in now, we're not talking about like 1, 2, 3 gatekeepers. There's many gatekeepers.
Yeah.
Not even gatekeepers. There's many like avenues to where you want to get, like ways to get to where you want to get to.
Sure.
Yeah.
And it not necessarily goes through Joe Rogan or Tony Clinton. Not even goes through a certain club in New York or a certain club in here in LA. It kind of goes by you just really, exposing yourself as much as humanly possible to the most eyes as possible, and then those people see you. Okay, come on board with me or whatever.
Well, I think it's even more important to do what you're doing, which is like find a crew and like come up together.
Yeah.
Because that's what those guys did.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah,
like that's what you
that's
see with Joe Rogan, Tom Segura, like Bert Kreischer, Tony Hitchcock. Like they have their little crew.
Yeah.
And it's cool that they could even like they popped up Brendan Schaub like in a second. They're like, you're not going to get hit in the head anymore. Like we're going to put you on the main stage.
Right.
Yeah.
He was good enough to do it, but like they had that base prepared. And those guys are getting older. Like they're like, dude, I'm moving out of state. I'm gonna live in a big house.
Yeah.
Like there will be a time where there'll be like kind of a reset of the new crew.
No, for sure. Those guys are older now, like in their 40s and 50s, in some cases even older. So it's like we're talking us like 20s, 30s, and we're like, okay, so that move doesn't quite add up for us because like we're not in that same lane.
Because you still can't buy the big house. You're gonna like literally have
Yeah.
the same shitty apartment just in a worse city.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think what I'm gathering is that a lot of those big guys who made it, they all kind of paved their own path, you know what I mean? And so it's not, And that's kind of what I love about stand-up is because I'm a very independent person.
Yeah.
It would be weird if there was like a union for stand-up comedy or like, some executive, like you had to have Whitney Cummings pass you in order to get a Netflix special. You know what I mean? Like
we should start a union that like says we're not going to do any more shows until COVID's over. And just like band together.
Right. And then we're all going to be capped out. Then it's the only people going to be out there is fucking Whitney Cummings and Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
They're going to be capped out out of fucking existence.
These bikes are too dangerous.
Yeah. But that's what's cool. Like, I had a feeling like, people are, sometimes when stuff happens, people get cold feet and they just bounce immediately. Like, it's like when you're driving down a fucking, this is such a California lingo, but you're driving down a fucking freeway and you're in one lane and it's getting slower and everyone's going faster than you, and all of a sudden you move lanes and then you fucking stop. And then that lane that you just in fucking goes past you. I kind of thought of that when everyone was moving to Austin, Florida, wherever. And I was like, I bet, some people are going to regret that move. And they're not gonna like.
Yeah, for sure. Because
everyone just went over that one place, and all of a sudden now we have open lanes over here, and now open spots everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It's tough.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, people will figure it out if they are meant to figure it out, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's still like a selection process regardless. Like whoever you go through, like not everyone's gonna make it. Some people are, some people are not. You know what I mean? And, hopefully everyone on this couch does, because we're special. That's why.
So what's your process to getting better? Is it just getting up on more stages?
Yeah.
Okay.
Effectively, that is kind of it for me. I mean, I should write more. Everyone says that about themselves. If I sat down to write more, that would also really help. But for me, just the more stage time got me to advance so much faster.
Yeah, I was meaning to ask that because like some people, there's always the person that like I want to be a comedian, right? And they're sitting on their couch and be like, I can't wait to do that. That looks easy or whatever their bullshit that they're saying. And, they think they can get better by just like coming up with jokes and just having it in their mind. But when they get on stage, they're just going to kill it, right? And you're saying like, the process of getting on stage and doing it is the part that like really helps you. Why do you say that is?
Well, I know a lot of open micers who've been doing it for a long time who get 10 minutes of stage time a week and then wonder why they're not going anywhere. Mm-hmm. It's because the stage time, I mean, it's one of those, I think stand-up is like probably the only art form in which you can only get better when you're doing it live,
Sure.
And I think I've heard that discussed even on like Rogan or something like that, but, it's because you can craft a good joke. You could be a good joke writer, but being a good performer is something else completely.
Sure.
Totally.
And you need to get used to getting over stage fright. I mean, I still have like the butterflies as I'm like walking onto the stage, but at this point I'm getting more and more confident with like, I know what I'm doing, but that is really only possible when you're getting as much stage time as possible. And the people I respect the most, they also kind of feel that way. So really it's like with anything else, you can become a great artist if you spend hours at home alone drawing by yourself.
Right.
But with stand up, you have to be on stage because you get used to, it's not just being comfortable on stage, it's also learning how to interact with audience. Like the live component of stand up is what makes it to me an art form,
Sure.
Totally. Because anyone can be funny at the dinner table at home or whatever, but yeah, it's the confidence you get from actually doing it and getting used to the stage is really what makes you stand out. And I'm sure the audience like sees that, the confidence in you, sitting there. Yeah.
Because a huge part of stand up within the performance part is really commanding the room and making sure that people are listening to you, making sure that you're in control.
Totally.
I'm very proud of myself for having now developed, like, if let's say a joke bombs or if I'm bombing, more often than not, I'm able to save myself out of that,
Mm-hmm.
And it's been a long time since I really let the bomb like fucking, destroy me while I'm on stage. But that's another thing, is you just have to make sure that the audience, and this was because I was just talking about this is a mistake that a lot of like female comics make when they're young, is if they wear something very revealing on stage or this or that. I just bring that up because I was talking about it recently, but essentially what it is you need the audience to trust you and to believe in you and to start listening to you as soon as you get up. So if you have something that's very distracting, no one's going to care to listen to what you have to say.
Interesting. That's actually really interesting because like people, comedians like myself always wonder like, okay, so how do we dress? How do we do that? And I mean, obviously I'm not showing my dick or whatever, but like my shoes, my this, my that, and it's interesting you say that because like you want to be seen, but also you want people to listen to you.
Yeah, totally. And I fell into that trap. I never really wore anything like low cut or too sexy on stage or anything, but I did sometimes dress a little bit too fancy. I think partly to overcompensate for like my lack of confidence in my jokes. And also I just kind of naturally dress a little bit like more formal or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
But that is also, for me, it wasn't working that well because it makes you less relatable if you're on stage and you're looking like a rich bitch or whatever.
Right.
And then people are like, why should I listen to this dumb rich cunt? Like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's another way. So now I definitely dress a little bit more baggier and just because also if I'm wearing something like even like close fitting, then I feel self-conscious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if people are paying attention to how you look or like sexualizing you or objectifying you, then why would they listen to you?
Yeah, that's interesting because like a lot of people get their initially they're getting their confidence from how they show up on stage, and I'm wondering how you got your state of like having to be able to command the room. Like where did that where did you end up learning that through? Like how did you end up learning that commanding the room?
I've again through stage time and also when you're doing comedy practically every day as I am, you're seeing like better comics perform and you're seeing worse comics, so you're learning also just by observing. But you also feel it when you're on stage. Like once you start getting over like the stage fright or the nervousness or like the what am I saying, then you start feeling like, oh yeah, like there is an energy that is palpable in here. And I am, I'm on stage. It's me. I'm lit. I'm mic'd. It's me who has to guide the ship.
Right.
So again, but that's only something, again, I feel like I'm really starting to like understand and grasp and start to, I don't know, like just become better at really recently.
What's your appropriate stride? Like how many mics do you try to do a week? Where you're like, that's like my pace.
Mics, on average, I get probably 40 minutes of stage time a week.
Okay.
Nice. Okay.
So that's that before. Because now it's like shows where I'm doing like 10-minute, 15-minute sets.
Right.
Before when it was mics, yeah, I would hit 6 mics a week or something. So
that's like 4 times, 10 minutes each average.
Yeah.
Ish. Yeah.
It depends. I mean, on Mondays, of course, I get 4 sets in because I'm hosting each hour at Flashback Mike.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then shows, and like tonight I'm doing a 10-minute secret mic. Anyway, it's a lot.
How do you gauge the difference between performing in front of other comics and also like an audience? Like knowing that like the comics are actually giving you something that like, okay, this is tangible of maybe this is a real critique or this is like just not the right crowd for what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, when you're performing in front of other comics, it's not like there's a Q&A part afterward where people are like critiquing you. You know what I mean? It's not like that. It's if you can make a room full of comics laugh, especially a room full of comics who've been doing it for a few years, that's how you know something is funny. Because the longer you're doing comedy, the more kind of desensitized you get. Like the harder it is to make you laugh because you've heard all of the hack premises. You know the structure of jokes a little bit more, just kind of subconsciously. And so an audience is definitely more forgiving, like of non-comics. A real audience is more forgiving, and because they don't know what a hack joke is. They don't know what So I always think if you can make a room or a mic full of like well-seasoned comics laugh, then it's a good.
That's like the real goal.
Yeah. Because I noticed because before we started doing real comedy, we started like going to a lot of shows and seeing what people do, what works or what doesn't. And we noticed like quite a few comedians, they have their jokes and they stick to it and they never change their jokes. They never add jokes, edit them, whatever. What is it like on the back end, like when you're at home and, you already did your set, like, that same set, 5, 6, 10 times. What does it look like when you're like, damn, like, how do you sit back and come up with like a new strategy, or how do you plan maybe your set to, have that command in the room?
Yeah, I think about that a lot in terms of the bigger guys who go on tour, because when you're on tour and you're doing 30, 40 cities or whatever it is, like you are basically just doing your act that many times
just
in a
repeating
row.
yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, the reason I think about that, and that's kind of like astounding to me a little bit, is because I already get bored a lot of the time with my material. If I'm doing the same 10 minutes every day for like 3 shows in a row, I'm like fucking tired of that. So that's why crowd work is fun, because it freshens it up. That's why writing is that's like the reward to writing too, is because when you have a newer joke, that's like what you're looking forward to, and everyone in the audience can tell that you're like more excited to write or to say a certain joke.
Right.
You know, all subconsciously, of course, but yeah, no, I mean, it does get, I do get.
I wonder what would be worse, like, you know, being a comedian that has that perfect joke that you have to tell forever.
Ooh, yeah.
Or being like a musician that gets to play the same song forever.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's interesting.
Both would be, over time, it would probably suck, right?
Well,
but that's also in an odd way the goal.
Right, but at the same time, like say for instance, Eric Clapton playing "Tears of Heaven," right? It's like yeah, but like that song touches you in a certain way. So it's like it's not really about you; it's about the person listening. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you still got to be up there doing it all the time.
Right. But
yeah.
I get what you're saying, but like I get both sides. My point is like even for you, like you might say a joke that someone hasn't heard yet, even though you said it 1 billion times.
Right.
So
No, I'm saying when you get to the one that like for example, like Bert Kreischer, who has
the machine.
Yeah, the machine.
Yeah.
Like
or Hot Pocket.
anytime that you buy a ticket, especially if like you're not in LA. Like if you're in LA, like you expect
Hot Pocket stuff. Hot Pocket.
But if you're like, I'm from Minnesota.
Yeah.
If you buy a ticket to like the Target Center in Minnesota, like you're like, I came for that.
Right. But like, but so it's like a bull fan. But like I said, the creator is like, well, I don't want to fucking say Hot Pockets anymore, you know. And then but the audience in Minnesota is like, tell me the Hot Pockets joke, and you're just like, well, fuck you guys.
I don't know. I think with comics though, it is the retiring of material is more commonplace than musicians. Like musicians don't usually retire an album for the rest of their lives. Like,
that's true.
Yeah.
If you're a comic, a touring successful comic, and you put out a special, like you're not going to do the jokes from that special a year from after.
You wouldn't like ask Dave Chappelle to do it.
Yeah, no.
Right.
Yeah. Tell me about the Wigger jokes. Like, no.
I guess some guys get caught in that and some don't.
Yeah,
but it's just about like letting it just go.
Yeah, I think some comics from like the 80s, you know, they until the day they died, they for like 20 years they had the same set, and it would, you know, kill.
Totally.
But that was before like Netflix. That was before YouTube. You know. So.
Yeah. It's interesting. Yeah, we see these comics like at venues that won't be named. Good venues. I just don't want to point them out. But like they're just kind of going through the motions, and it's sad because they're always like the same, like first guy up, and then you know, and that's it. Like you just kind of forgotten, and But you see like newer people come in after them and progress faster than them because they're just coming up with new material often. And they're making you laugh more often, rather than
sometimes
like
you just come to collect a check. That's what's going on. They're like, "Yo, I'm just coming."
Yeah, but it's like at that
feeding
point,
the family and heading out, and
like
probably crawling back up to the hills.
I don't know, but like at that point, like, what are you doing this for? You know what I mean?
Seriously. Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean?
I don't know. I think most people who really can have longevity are the ones who are like constantly changing their shit. Because there were some people that I started with that are doing the same fucking 5 minutes that they were doing when I started, which was 2 years ago already. So, and it works for them, but it's like, okay, but then how are you going to advance further than 5 minute spots?
Yeah, I suppose you get just stuck in like these little ruts where you're like, shit, like I just got to like stay home, you know, and just like lock into this thing.
Right. How do you plan, like I call it like planning your route, right? Like you have like say like 10 jokes, right? And how do you form it in a way of like, or how do you form it? Do you form your jokes into like a story? Do you have like a one after the other because it flows better? Like how do you form the jokes in an order?
Yeah, I mean, it's different for everyone, I suppose. I mean, for me, the way what I've kind of been working with, the similar like act that I've been working with for the past few months, I have it in kind of categories in my mind, like what, you know, what this is about, how it, like the first ones have to do with a little bit my upbringing, and then sex and dating, and then observations, and, you know, so it kind of, that's how some people categorize it. I'm not like a super long storyteller. That's what I hope to slowly become better at, because that's also the faster way to fill up an hour, you know. And I'm thinking a little bit in the back of my mind long term, like when I will do a tour and I'm headlining and I have to fill up an hour,
and you can bring stuff back throughout the story, kind of like reconnect things,
callbacks and stuff. It's I mean, listen, the whole thing is a learning process. Like,
do you think that people are gonna start kind of doing their own specials more often and like stop waiting for people?
Yes,
Like,
it's
like
already
you-
happening.
Are
yeah.
you like already comfortable with like putting just a joke on YouTube, or
I'm-
is that not something that you would do?
I personally am still having trouble doing that because I see a lot of my friends, they post Instagram reels of their jokes and this and that, and I'm like, oh, I should probably start doing that because you can kind of build a following that way. Like a lot of people are discovered through Instagram these days.
Right.
For sure.
When it comes to specials, I'm realizing now that like a special really doesn't mean much right now, just because anyone can tape their own special.
Sure.
Yeah.
You could I've seen so many like bad comics tape their own specials, 30-minute or half hours or an hour, and it's, you know, and you can put it on YouTube or you can try to sell it or whatever, but it's not, you know, yeah, to me still, if like Netflix or HBO is offering you something, that to me like actually is something concrete.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that's always like someone's goal, probably, if like,
Yeah.
you're a true professional in the industry. But it's interesting to see like it's definitely gonna change.
Yeah.
You know, because one, for us, like I'm like a hobbyist when it comes to like doing in open mics. I honestly haven't done one in like a year.
Yeah.
Right. But I love podcasting.
Mm.
Like this is my place for comedy. It works more. It's just kind of more my lane.
Yeah.
Even though I think the mind game of stand up is actually a little bit more fun because it's a little bit scarier. It's more difficult. You have an audience. There's more factors at play. We in this zone we're like way honed in. But comedy's like taking to kind of like two separate roads. But I think they work together. It's now there's
Yeah.
like two vehicles to be able to actually play with, where you don't have to wait around for just this random person at a comedy club to finally say like, you can go.
Yeah, even Lulu was like saying like even the acting part on top of that, like it kind of just combines into one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you get, you know, like if you're funny on a movie or something, they're like, oh, so what would you do like on a podcast? And if I'm funny on a podcast, they're like, oh, what would you do in stand up, and so on.
Yeah, everyone has to be a jack of all trades these days, really. I feel like it's starting to become, and you know, even with my, you know, when I see my friends, I see comic friends that are like viral on TikTok, and I'm like fucking, I wish I could do that, but TikTok
Totally.
is not my avenue. But I
Yeah.
wish I could, because then you have millions of people like watching
Yeah.
you and your
Have you
content.
tried TikTok?
Yeah, I mean, I've posted some videos, but there's nothing. I mean, maybe if I consistently did a character or something, it could work, but
Yeah.
it's just I don't have like a natural care. Stand up is the first thing that I ever did that I was not naturally good at, that I wanted to work harder at and master. It's the first thing in my life.
Who brought you into it? Like, what comedian was the person that you're like, oh, this is why I care about this or want to fight for it?
Yeah.
Especially if it's unnatural to you.
Yeah.
I don't know. There wasn't like a comic that I idolized really. I dated a stand-up comic, and then a month after we stopped dating, I did an acting showcase. And they said, bring in your own shit that you wrote, your own like monologue or whatever, so we can hear your voice. So, and I had been writing a little bit in stand-up format, just like I had, you know, thoughts before bed, and I would type them out.
Yeah.
And so I already had something that I could bring in as like a monologue. And I did that, and I didn't mean it to be funny, but it was. And I had a room full of people laughing as I was on stage, and I was like, oh, this is what
This
I
is
have
fun.
to do for the rest of my life now.
So
Okay.
I'm curious actually to kind of add on to your question. So like, yeah, so it was that laughter, is that feedback you got? Is that what kind of like
Yeah.
you accepted, and then you
Because
were like,
because I had kind of accidentally done stand-up, and then it was the laughs.
That was
the
your
reaction to what I was saying. I was like, this is God. This feels like God. Like,
and that, so it's interesting you say that, because like, you know, that's what a lot of people are saying. It's like that first feedback, that laughs, that it's like that first drug you get.
yeah,
And you're like, now that's all I want. You know, is
yeah.
that drug
And you're
again.
just chasing killing and like that feeling. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's one other thing. It's like, if you improve your comedy, you could totally get, you know, that return on, you know, the dopamine hit or whatever again and again and again, and more so. It's not
Yeah.
like it dies. Not like it dies out unless
Right.
you're just, you know, telling one joke and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. That's interesting to hear, because yeah, it's interesting to know from your perspective. It has already gone through it a little bit. Just because, you know, people that are watching, you know, I'm sure people are watching that also want to get into this comedy. They just
Yeah.
want to know like, what is it really like going through this process, and that's what we're talking about, which is pretty cool.
How is it being a female in comedy? Is it like, I know that's probably an annoying question, but it is a kind of a different world.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's a lot of, you know, first of all, there's a lot of people assuming that you're getting booked on shit because you are attractive or because you're a woman or because you're sleeping with someone or whatever. So there's a lot of that shit that people are probably saying about you behind your back. Like, definitely saying about you behind your back.
Sure.
There's that. There's wondering yourself if you're just getting booked on something because of your looks or because the booker's trying to fuck you or whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't know. But I haven't been fucking. I've never felt unsafe doing comedy. I've never felt like I was in a green room and someone was about to rape me or some shit. You know what I mean? So like there is, you know, and also I mean a little bit just the way I am and the way I talk and walk and operate. Like I'm, you know, I have this like armor and shit that I kind of. But that's just from being a woman. So I don't experience any like harassment or anything like bad personally. Yeah. But there is, of course, there are the negatives and there are the positives. Listen, I mean, I can't say it's all bad being a female comedian.
Well, it's like we all have to kind of work with what we have, right? And like, but it is an interesting thing where even knowing like what female comedians' audiences look like has to be just interesting to navigate.
Right.
Because there's a lot more like douchey guys that just really like comedy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
And that's like where it's easy to eat in.
Yeah.
But also those are the guys that usually kind of walk you off a ledge because you end up saying something crazy to feed the masses. And and then it's dangerous.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting to see because obviously I'm not at the point where like people are coming to see me. So I'm curious to see also what my demographic will be because I don't go up on stage and I'm not like fucking I hate men because they're fucking dogs, but I'm also not the opposite. So I would like ideally to have like some type of
like a middle ground.
Middle ground, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. That's what's interesting about like that's kind of what I asked you about like how did you command the room because like it kind of is everyone's kind of comedy has like their own like ideology, if you will.
Yeah.
And it's really just to grab the attention and hearts of the people that are listening. But and then like what is that thing? You know what I mean? Like I'm just loud and ignorant. That's kind of my thing. And then I'm just like so people hear me and they're like, what the fuck's going on there? And then I just continue talking.
He can say that? Okay.
Right.
Fuck, I'll laugh then.
Yeah. That's kind of how my comedy is. But everyone has their own lane. And that's always interesting to hear everyone's different lane because a lot of different comics, like for instance Jade. She's like a she like sings and dances and does all this stuff. So you're just like, what is happening here? You know what I mean?
Really? I've never seen her live.
Yeah. She's like really multi-talented. But then you also have like other girl comedians who just like straight up like yell like I do. They're like, what the fuck is this pussy? And then you're like, whoa. And then who was the blonde one? I forget her name. She's real famous.
Liza.
Yeah. Liza. She's hilarious.
Yeah.
So that's cool. It's cool.
Yeah, everyone has their different voice, and everyone's gonna find. I mean, I'm still trying to figure out what my voice is a little bit. I kind of have an idea, but yeah, I mean, it's a process, really.
Yeah, that's it. That's cool. It's really interesting.
You guys play around with some like sketches in your crew a little bit. Do you like doing that?
Yeah, it's fun. It's silly. I mean, it's cute. It's content. Listen, I enjoy doing it because it's content, and like I said earlier, you have to be a jack of all trades. So as long as you're putting shit out, especially for me as I'm not putting reels out of my actual comedy comedy, I'm like, okay, well at least here's something that I feel like I'm doing.
It's like something to post
that's appropriate for the business.
What's cool about comedy is that like it's a process and like it's gonna everything's gonna take a while like throughout your comedy life and career. Like even comedians that I know now that are like solid, for instance, I've heard of them beforehand, and they've been through their ebbs and flows. So of their ups and downs, even Bill Burr, even the Andrew Santinos, even the Bobby Lees of the world, they had all their ups and downs. So it's like even if you have an up tomorrow, not saying you will have a down the next day, but like you have a long career ahead of you.
Yeah, it's a marathon, not a sprint. That's what they say.
Yeah. And that's interesting. So like you're what 25, 26, right? 26, yeah. And then so like now like now that you got that feedback, like I was saying, like in 10 years, 15 years, you're like, this is what we do.
Yeah.
That's what's up. I like that.
So you being like way more active in the open mic scene, what's your favorite mic in Los Angeles right now?
Man, I haven't been doing as many mics just because I've been getting what I need from like shows and stuff.
Yeah.
I will say Flashback Mike. Because I host there every Monday.
Yeah.
And
stay true to the home team.
Yeah, yes, right. Because it makes Dante money when
you
go to do that one.
Hey.
So that one I like. That one I make it fun. I because I actually enjoy hosting. I can't tell you how many open mics I've been to where the host just doesn't want to be there, and then everyone has a bad set, and it's like, then what are we doing here? Why did all of these people pay $5?
It's like, Venmo me $5. I'm gonna get up here and be like, fuck, let's just get done.
and the host like doesn't even give a shit. Okay, so
That's brutal.
there's that. Yeah, that flashback is good when I host. It really just depends on the host. But Fourth Wall, I started at Fourth Wall, and that one's in North Hollywood. That one's pretty brutal. That one can be tough just because it's it'll humble you for sure.
It's in West Hollywood, you said?
North Hollywood.
Oh, okay, got it.
But he has a couple locations at this point, Joe Menente. And then I don't know. There's these one-off. I don't know. I really can't think. There's so many.
I just wonder because like the only thing I ever hear is like people just don't like flappers.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I haven't been there since the pandemic started.
Okay.
Actually, yeah.
I always wonder that because, like, from a comedian point of view, right? What makes a place good or not good? Like, especially because, like, I'm thinking, like, in my general sense of like people, right? I'm thinking North Hollywood. I think they'll laugh more, right? And then or whatever. But I'm generalizing it. I don't know who goes there, whatever. So like, what is it the jokes you make and the people how they respond, or like are the people just whack and they don't drink or something? Like, what makes?
Well, listen, you don't have real audience coming to open mics. It's just other comics. And
oh yeah.
So the ones who go, let's say, to the North Hollywood Fourth Wall, it's a little bit, that's kind of one of those places where anyone can say anything, and it's usually a lot of horrendous shit that people say there, and
Right.
Sometimes it's like, if you're not being offensive, then you won't do well.
Right.
That's what some people say. I think that it's a place where actually the people who go there and are dedicated to that place, they become much funnier much faster, because the people who go there, they are tougher. Sometimes it does have that like toxic masculinity type of vibe, but
Sure.
at the same time it does make people better faster.
Gives you
I
that
think
edge.
from what exactly.
Sure.
So that's that case. There's one place that I'm not going to say by name that they have mics there every day on the slotted, and it's always just a bunch of fucking it's a bunch of people who've been doing comedy for like 2 weeks, or who are actors just trying to add stand-up as a special skill on their resume, and it's just a bunch of like hacks who like don't. It sucks. It's so bad and terrible to sit through. And you're like, and you say just one thing that's like mean, and then they won't laugh. I don't know. Okay, so there's certain.
So you
places.
can't be mean there.
Yeah, and it's
fuck
like,
that
what
place.
are you?
I've always been
fucking
scared of like
born
the.
yesterday. Like,
I've always been scared of like the coffee shop ones,
Oh yeah.
and especially if they say like it's music and a mic.
Oh no.
I'm like, dude, that
Yeah.
seems like a dangerous
Right.
environment.
well, any like
I did that in San Francisco a little bit, and I'm like, I gotta go.
I mean, any like coffee shop or bar that you're going into where the customers there don't know that a comedy open mic is about to happen, you're not in for like a great experience, really.
I can't do that because my comedy is kind of mean. I got to do like dark bar, like motherfuckers are already like plastered drunk already. Like that's the type of place I pull up in and just start talking my shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that'll also help you grow. I mean, it's tough because then you're gonna have drunk people heckling, but that's also
that's true.
but that's also gonna make you grow faster, because then
Yeah.
you learn how to be like, yo, shut the fuck up. Like I'm
Right.
gonna.
You have drunk people heckle you wherever you go, though.
Well,
Damn, you all right?
I walk out the fucking door and then motherfucker on a bike the other day, like literally pull up like I was a fucking chick, and like on a bicycle, like he just like he literally goes, "Hey, what's up, shouty?" I'm like, get the fuck away from me, son. Like what the
Yeah.
fuck? Like I'm like and I have my knife in my flashlight, walk around with my knife and my fucking flashlight in my pockets, because like sometimes you might have to stab a motherfucker. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's what it's like being catcalled, but as a female, like
Yeah.
walking down the street.
I feel you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like whatever. But sometimes, and I'm gonna buy a fucking flashlight with a taser on it. I swear to you. And it's like,
Wait, so it's not a gun anymore?
well, let's talk real quick. I didn't want to buy a gun, right? Because like sometimes I wake up randomly and like with the hot sweats and shit, and I don't want to wake up randomly hot sweats and then shoot something because I got scared. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh wow.
So I realized I educated myself and had a talk with myself, and I'm like, okay, maybe I shouldn't buy a gun. Maybe I should buy like something a little lighter. Like God forbid something happen, I accidentally fucking shoot my own foot. At least I just tase myself and go ow, and then you let it go.
Because I could see you like pop a shot out your window just to get people to shut the fuck up downtown.
No, dude, because motherfuckers are outside my window.
Hey, you get kind of hype.
Motherfuckers are outside my window. They have the full-blown speakers with the lights on it, and then they're just playing like fucking, oh baby, you. And I'm like, it's fucking 1 o'clock in the morning, and then I literally just go, and just like, shut up, and then like done, you know. And all of a sudden, I don't hear shit out my window anymore. You know what I mean? Because I'm on the 3rd floor. Anyway, I live in downtown LA, and there's a lot of noise. You know what I mean? So, and then my window's not double paned, so yeah, I get a little bothered trying to go to sleep. Anyway, sorry about that tangent. But anyway, yeah, you got to protect yourself. You know what I mean? At all times. And and I think you'll do well at bars that people accept you. I don't know.
That's dope. Well, do you have anything that you're planning for next? Like, what's like the on the horizon for this new year?
Some plugs. Well, I mean, in terms of like big events, nothing crazy. I mean, I have shows that I'm excited for that are a little bit bigger, but I don't really have anything crazy. Like,
okay. Just like keep your head down, keep on moving forward.
Yeah, basically, I go on auditions. If I get a role, then that's something. But I don't have it's hard to plan anything. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah. I have a couple questions for you before you go. What do you do for fun? You know what I mean? You seem like comedy, and you kind of seem a little serious. I don't know what do you like? Do you do Molly, acid, mushrooms? What do you do?
No, I don't do. I'll drink a little bit, but I don't. I mean, the last time I did any type of drug was 4 years ago now, probably.
Nice.
So that's
I feel like LA comedy's gotten sober.
Well, actually,
it's the only way to survive it. You just gotta be sober in it. It's good.
Yeah. I think that's kind of a dark moment, but the scene, not LA is not doing cocaine anymore, barely, because heard there's something going on with the LA comedy scenes and the bad coke and stuff in it, and unfortunately people passed away. I don't know if you know anything about that.
You actually were friends with some of those people.
Yeah. I was friends with Fuquan Johnson, who was that big. It was 3 of them who died that one night from fentanyl poisoning on the cocaine.
So bad.
So that was pretty heartbreaking for sure.
That had to be brutal because he was actually part of he
was a part of that crew.
Clique.
That clique that I was talking about for sure. And actually, since he died, is when I really became more brought in to that. I think just because I was there for Dante when Fu died, and I mean I hadn't been around them for too long, but I think especially the morning of his death and stuff really kind of solidified who that little family is.
I get that. Yeah.
So,
yeah. Interesting.
That's what's tough about this comedy in the last year. Just has had a lot of random scary deaths happen, a lot of confusing things. But it sounds like it's been like that for a long time.
I think so. Yeah, people have always committed suicide. Comedians, and then also someone recently got shot. Someone else, this guy Jonathan David, he fell down. He was a very overweight guy. When I found out he died, I was like, oh, maybe he had a heart attack, even though he's kind of young, because he's, unhealthily fat.
Sure.
It turned out he fell, and then he broke his rib, and the doctor sent him away. They said, just take an Advil, and then it punctured his lung, and he just died. God. And that was a month ago, maybe, that happened, and it was another comic. So, yeah, I don't know. The past year was, just...
brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing about comedy, the only people who look out for comics are comics themselves, So you kind of got to look out for each other and just and wish as well, and also pump in good love and good energy into each other.
Yeah, because it's by and large a lot of broken people from fucked up situations.
100%.
I mean, I'm lucky to come from a pretty good family. I wasn't abused as a kid or anything like that, but it is still a lot of depressed people, broken people, molested people. It's not,
Well, it's something in that brain of ours that says, the only thing that fixes it is laughs from other random people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So something's fucked up in here.
Tragedy plus time, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you find it harder to write during COVID? It sounds like you kind of keep yourself out of the politics stuff or current events.
I mean, yeah, I'm aware of everything. I just try not to think about it too much, but so I don't kill myself. But I think COVID, I was definitely not writing that much, but I also wasn't going to mics that much. And I still, as I said earlier, I definitely don't write as much as I probably should or could, but
it was just a weird time because I am a person who I love reading about politics. I love current event stuff. Yeah. But this period of time proved to me how much comedy matters. And I think that I found a lot of solace in just different YouTube channels popping off because
Oh, yeah.
I love comedians' perspective on the world. I love
Right.
the way that they can sometimes just crowd it out in a way that I can't.
Yeah.
You know, and so it proved that we just have to like continue to give support to this space, because a lot of people don't realize that we can still have fun
Yep.
during disaster.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. I really. That's when I first started listening to and watching podcasts, was when the pandemic hit, because I had always heard, of course, of Your Mom's House, Joe Rogan,
Totally.
this and that. But then when the pandemic hit and I had nothing to do, I was
Right.
like, and that also helped me, because that was like the kind of like almost like a college course I could take on hearing like, oh, that's when you could learn from the bigger guys who did it
Right.
a little
Totally.
bit, even if you can't be like out going to mics and shows yourself.
Well, they like actually let you into that round table of that
Yeah.
discussion
Yeah.
of the
Yeah,
thoughts
yeah.
they're having, the experiences that got them through.
Totally.
It's cool.
Totally. And I always thought like, I started doing comedy because of podcasts, because I always thought like jokes are essentially jokes we make randomly, but shortened and tightened and like refined, if that makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
like a joke I'm just talking to you about, nonsense and bullshit and hoes this, whatever. If I make that same thing that I made like right and refined and put the words here and whatever, that's a full blown joke. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, this is in a sense could be a part of a writing process.
Yeah.
If you wanted it to.
In my head, it is. You know what
Sure.
I mean? Because I think about these things when I go home and kind of write them down. So, I don't know. Everyone gets to learn, from different areas, which is cool. Which is
Yeah.
cool.
I love it.
I like it.
Well, where can they find you?
You can find me at Lulu Jovovich on all of the social media handles. As for shows, I'll be at the San Diego Laugh. When does this come out?
It's going to come out tomorrow.
Okay, Friday the 14th, January 14th, I'll be at the San Diego Laugh Factory. Gonna be at Rec Room February 5th and 12th in Huntington Beach. Irvine Improv February 10th with Josh Potter. So
Dope.
those are the big ones.
Hell yeah. You're not related to Mila Jovovich, are you?
I am. She's my cousin.
Word? Oh, no way. Oh, my God. No wonder. I sensed the Umbrella Corporations when you walked in. Oh, my God. Okay, sorry. I just realized that after the fact. All right.
I love it.
this
They
is
go
Smart
find
Mom.
her on Ball Gag.
Yeah,
Ball
my
Gag, yes.
Right?
podcast. Let's play. Yeah.
So,
Ball Gag
but
podcast.
thank you so much for coming on. This was great. It's great to meet you.
Great to meet you. Yeah,
Nice
hell
to
yeah.
meet you
It's been
guys.
a better view.
Live for Belly. This was Smart and Mild.
Smart and mild. Love, peace, and chicken grease. We out.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.